I slow in here because of the lake.
Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. The time is 6:30 p.m. I'm John DeWanzik, and this is the regular meeting of the Avon Lake Board of Municipal Utilities. Tonight, you can tell by the background, we're not in the usual place. We're in the, what do they call this? The
Lake House.
Lake House, and this is our temporary meeting place. Modeling is done at the 201 Moore Road, or Miller Road, sorry. And so tonight we also have the unusual circumstance of Mr. Monroe, the Chief Utilities Executive, is not here tonight. So in his place will be Mr. Greg Urinich to my right. The full board is here tonight, starting to my left with Mr. Mondello and Mr. Rush, and to my right, Mrs. Schnabel and Mr. Ricky. So we have a quorum. As usual, it will take a vote of 3 to pass any measure, a majority vote of 3 to pass any measure. All votes will be taken by a voice vote, with the exception of vote to go into executive session, which will be done by roll call vote. Tonight's meeting is live streaming on Facebook and YouTube. You have an opportunity for public input if you're in that audience. If you are in the room here, you have an opportunity for public input at the same time. I should mention others in the room tonight, Attorney Anthony Coyne and Bill Logan, the Business and Financial Coordinator, and Mr. Neil Rush, a member of the public, is also in the audience. Mr. Tim Rush, have I covered everything?
I believe you have, sir.
Okay, thank you. So that will take care of the perfunctory, and we will move on to the first order of business, which is to approve the minutes for the July 29th special meeting.
Yep, you're right.
Okay, are there any comments on those from anyone? Okay, hearing no comments, we will consider them approved as submitted, and we'll go on to the next item, which is public input. First of all, Mr. Urinich, do we have any public input from the world?
Not at the moment.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Mr.
Mr. Logan is monitoring that tonight because of the absence of Mr. Monroe. And anything in here, anybody with anything to say? I should also I did recognize Attorney Coyne is in the room too. Okay, let's go on then with correspondence. Mr. Urinich, do we have any?
I do not have any, Mr. Chairman.
Any members with anything? Okay, let's go on from there to expenditures. Would someone like to make the motion to approve the expenditures from July 24th through August 13th? Mr. Ricky.
I move to accept the expenditures dated Avon Lake Regional Water dated July 24th through August 13th, 2026 as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Schnabel. Discussion. Mr. Ricky.
I got a bunch tonight that I really want to.
Go ahead, go slow. Make sure you tell us
The
what.
city of Westlake shows up on here 4 or 5 times. Item 43 on the water funds. City of Westlake, $625. Market Square rental fee. I have no idea what that is.
So that is for the centennial event that we were putting on in November. It's going to be in Westlake, Crocker.
Okay,
They own that building, so we were reserving that for the event.
so we'll have a booth there.
No, we're going to
We're
have
the host.
We'll have the whole facility.
Oh, see, I don't know
for the
anything
centennial
about this.
celebration.
Okay,
I don't think we've just.
There's going to be more to come, I'm sure.
okay. Well, I just see it shows up here 6 different times. I think every account.
This is a deposit.
And it's, yes, for $625 on that. I think I found it 3 or 4
The four major funds. We split
Okay.
that
So
among-
that's what that is for. Again, I had no knowledge of it. That's why I asked. Next item I had marked here. How about telling me what happened? Maybe we talked about this. I'm on Fund 723, items 49 and 50, reimbursements to customers for vehicle damage and cleanup of limbs. What's the backstory?
Sure.
I could take. 204 Avon Belden Road is a home right next to property that the city, Avon Lake Regional Water owns. Storm damage to, yeah, right up.
Right over here. Yeah, 204 would be right.
Storm damage from a storm. It was late June 30th, I think, or very early in July. A tree limbs crashed down missed the house, hit a vehicle that was in the driveway, which belonged to the lady, the second one there, or the first one rather, the Taylor Wepler. Her vehicle was in the driveway. She got a couple of estimates on it. It was discussed among the administration with Mr. Monroe and Greg and Bobby and everybody. And we felt like we better reimburse her. We could file a claim. We could have filed a claim on our liability policy, but for the cost for it was $3,300 for her car damage. We have pictures of the car. We have pictures of the tree limbs. We also reimbursed the homeowner, which is the second name there on line 50, Davina Gosnick. We reimbursed her $750 to call out a tree service company to get the limbs and everything off the driveway.
May I defer to our legal counsel? Tree on our property falls onto somebody else's property. Whose insurance covers that?
Ours,
Ours does. That's how that works. And then who's responsible for cleanup?
probably us.
Okay, I just wonder how that works legally.
If you have a limb growing over your property from another tree that's not on your property, you could cut that off.
Because it's over your property.
Right, but when it
Okay.
comes to the tree
And
itself.
have we satisfied the customer?
Yeah.
They were pleased with the settlement we came up with, and
Yes.
this goes back to my comments before the meeting about keeping track of customer complaints and how we follow up, and that we close the book on it and everybody's happy. Kumbaya.
Yes.
Okay, so that's
They
fine.
have, they have their payment.
I just thought I'd bring that up. City of Westlake, we got that. And again, this I think I may know the answer to this one. And it was, here it is, Fund 704, it's the last page. Gary Morale Excavating, $307,000. Is that the demo company? We placed a contract with them separate of, this has nothing to do with Great Lakes, right? They're not working for Great Lakes, or that wasn't in their bid?
No, that was the one we had bid originally with the project. The
Yeah,
bid we received did not take into account hazardous material abatement. So we had non-performed that at the time, put it out to bid again. Rally Excavating was the low bidder. And so
okay. I vaguely remember that story now that you bring it up, but I just saw that name and it didn't ring a bell with me when I was going through this. The other
Hold on
question,
before you go on to the next one. I want to pursue that a little bit.
okay,
Now, was that a mistake on the part of our plan designers that, so in other, we published plans that didn't call for demolition?
I think it was just kind of overlooked. And because of the discrepancy, it may not have been worded as clearly as it could have been. But we felt it was best just to not award it. They obviously were not going to be able to do the job at the cost that was bid because that was an omission, and I don't really remember.
So I think we have cause Tony with our designer.
Potentially.
I would look into it. Potentially. Well, why should, you pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for, the plans that are done. Why would such a glaring omission be okay?
Mhm.
and what is that contract worth?
think it was for $934,000.
So this is, yeah, and this is 300,000 of it.
This was their first pay
payment.
app. And
So-
I'll mention as well, Mr. Ricky, that this contract is covered through the same OWDA loan that Great Lakes is through.
It is.
Separate contract, but it's all part of
Separate.
that same
Okay.
OWDA loan.
Well, like I say, I didn't recognize the name when I saw it, but then as I thought about it driving here, I thought that may be what that is.
Well, that was a good catch, and I do think that it should be
Looked at.
looked into, you know,
Well,
we
Yeah.
had done the plans in-house, then shame on us, but if we
Mm-hmm.
paid for them, shame on them. Although there is some shame on the in-house engineers that review the plans, so I think it should be looked into, Mr. Burnich.
Was it not expected that there would be hazardous material, or was that discovered after the fact?
No, it was expected.
Okay.
I'll have to.
Yeah.
Hit it up.
That's not how we play, you know?
yeah. Well, I
Okay,
gotta-
what else you got, Mr. Rick?
like I say, I went through these this morning. The bundle project, right below that, active plumbing supply. Why are we supplying all this material for the bundle project? Is that the way that project was let?
We do that in a lot of the projects because then we can avoid the markup.
And that's what we did on this one?
We procure the materials. And.
Okay, I just saw that all this bundle project price, expenses, and I'm thinking,
because
did we pay for
all of
that?
our Bid pricing. we
Did not
guarantee the
include
lowest
that materials.
That material.
Very good. I have another one and I gotta find it. Well, the very bottom of that page. I just question administration building expansion, concrete work. It's not a lot of money, but it's $1,800 worth of administration work. We're spending 13 million on the building. What are we doing work for?
1,100 of that, Mr. Ricky, is Sixmo, the architect.
They're the architect?
Sixmo is.
I didn't know who the architect was.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, so
that's
they're still engaged with the construction process.
okay, but
The first two items there, yeah, that's Westview Concrete.
you know,
So
so
not
isn't that
very,
related
as you said, not really very much.
To the route.
not a lot of money, but we should,
Rerouting.
Oh, yeah.
but we shouldn't be doing anything. You know,
Wasn't that to the trailer though? The fiber
Right,
encasement?
with everything connected, they had to secure some of that out of the project. So that was work that we were able to do in-house,
Mhm.
to save costs.
Okay, anything else, Mr.
and the last one I had was it's Kindera Construction. $20,000 worth of work he had to do for, I guess, brakes.
Where are you finding this?
It's gonna be under ETL, probably under the ETL. I saw it, I know I can't, I'm having trouble putting my hands on it. ETL, yeah, ETL one is what I'm thinking. What fund is that?
703. Yeah.
Yeah, number
It's-
4 on
Okay.
703.
703, it just seemed like that's a huge number. How much digging did he do for us, or did we have a lot of breaks?
I think we had,
This is probably with the view break.
it was, I'm just trying to remember if it was 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because we were having those power outages, that was causing us problems on ETL one with the pump shutting down and pressure changes. Had several in a row.
Okay, well, like I say, it just seemed like a big number. Does he supply employees with that number? So we
And
get
equipment.
and equipment and employees, operator.
Was
the
some of
whole
that over
bit.
the weekend too?
So like I say, we must have had quite a lot of excavating, because I know he's done these for a lot cheaper than that for when we have one break.
Yeah,
So,
that wasn't for one.
okay, well, like I said, I just brought it up because it was a larger number.
Matter of
Like
fact,
stone.
again, pursuing your line of questioning. I don't remember when Mr. Monroe told me about that, but it was recently. And I said, well, don't they have a variable speed drive on the ETL line there? And they don't. So I said, I guess we should probably look into that, kind of cushion things a little bit on startup, because it's that water hammer, like you're filling up with gas at
Yeah.
Costco. People are clicking the nozzle and you're feeling pain.
Well, the startup is the controlled part. It's when you've got maintaining the pressure and then it suddenly shuts down is what.
Valve closed.
That's what pops things. Well, I apologize for dragging it out, but I just thought those were items that I think everybody would have brought up somewhere along the line because they were kind of unique.
I'm not seeing any complaints. so-
Okay, so that's all I have. That's
Okay.
the issues I had on the expense report.
Other
You
board
answered
members with
satisfactory.
objections or comments on the expenses? Thank you, Mr. Ricky.
Mhm.
All right, we'll close discussion. All in favor of approving the expenses as moved, say aye.
Aye.
They're approved. And do have Rob or you get back to me on what we're gonna do about that little holiday on the plans.
And I would like to learn more about what's going to happen in Westlake in November, that project, as time gets closer. Just curious what we're going to do. I think it'd be a great way to get ourselves out there and like to learn a little bit more about it. Thank you.
Okay, next item here is Mr. Logan and his supplemental appropriations, which I think are like negative appropriations somehow.
Well, we need some appropriations. in
Oh,
one of the
okay.
funds.
Tell us more.
One fund, we do need some budget money for a specific account. So in the fund number 762, which is ETL2 fund, which has a current fund balance as of the end of July anyway, of $5,309,136.24. So it's got a healthy fund balance, but the one line item, repair and maintenance supplies and services, has run out of budget money for the year. There's a couple of reasons why. Again, roughly $26,000 of the spending in that line item was carried over from last year when we cut off payments in December a little bit early. There was a large motor repair earlier in the year for a little over $19,000. And now we've ordered some disc check valves for that ETL water line, which total about $105,000. So we're asking for an appropriation, asking the board to approve an appropriation increase of about $150,000 for that line.
Okay, the 150,000, where am I to see this in the table that you abbreviated on the front page?
Not
Oh,
on a separate little.
Behind your expenses.
Okay, there it is. Okay, we have a recommended motion. Would someone like to make it? Mr. Ricky,
Hang on, I got to find it.
Right here.
I move to authorize the business and financial coordinator to make the supplemental budget appropriations for Fund 762 ETL2 fund in accordance with the memorandum presented to the board and dated August 18th, 2026.
thank you, Mr. Ricky. Is there a second?
Second,
Second.
I'll start making.
Let's let Mr. Meyer
Yes, we'll take turns.
Sure. Second.
take the bird. Okay, further discussion. All in favor of the
David,
motion?
no, David.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, I raised my hand. Just, are
I
these
thought you were
spares? Are we
challenging.
buying spares?
These disc valves?
Yeah.
I believe some are needed. I mean, so they're the ones that, but we've been talking with Mr. Kamevsky, some of the ones that are
What
in
are they?
place now are wearing down.
So the check valves that you have after the pump, a lot of what they had in the past were called air over oil check
I'm
valves.
familiar with those.
They were supposed to gently shut.
Absolutely.
Our experience has not been that they shut as nicely as disc check valves. So as the ones where we're replacing them with what we feel is going to provide the most cushion to any shutdowns.
So how many are we buying?
I believe 6. I think they may have already purchased 3, and then a purchase order came in just in the last few days for 3 more. So I think 6 altogether.
Okay. And these are still our responsibility. These are the ETL.
Well, this is
responsibility.
right.
It's what this is, not Avon Light.
This is being paid out of this
ETL fund.
762
Gotcha.
consortium fund, right?
Okay. And this is kind of unforeseen and we didn't expect this year? Or,
I mean, I think it's kind of been in the works, but just
Didn't make the budget.
If you had a failure on one of them, and I think as a
Okay.
preventative, it made sense to do them at the same time.
Okay, that's just what I was curious what we were buying.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Hi.
Motion passes. Next item, Mr. Urinich, is step increases. Tell us all about it.
Sure. We have two operators at the water plant that, the first one, Caleb Weber, had taken the program through, I'm blanking the name.
Atco.
Not Avon.
Oh.
It was the program they had done in Toledo where they take the classes, get experience working in a plant. As an operator in training. So he had, in the beginning of June, I think, had completed his 1 year. He had started as an operator in training. Shortly after that, on June 24th, he had earned enough experience to qualify for his class 1. He had passed that test prior as an operator in training. So on June 24th, he was moved to operator step 2 at $32.15 per hour. On July 7th, he passed his class 2 exam, and because of that program he had gone through, that counted as some additional experience as far as operating experience, so he was able to qualify for his Ohio EPA class 2 license. So he had moved to operator step 3 at $34.33 per hour.
But another test,
Yeah.
two separate tests yet.
Mhm.
A lot of tests.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah,
Mr.
very
Weber.
good.
And then you had water filtration plant operator Kyle Moyer earn his Ohio EPA class 2. And so he was moved to operator step 3 at $34.33 per hour. That one was effective July 29th of 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Urinich. Comments from the board?
They don't need an hour after they get their class 1. They don't need the 2,000 hours anymore. They can take the test and get their class 2 right away.
Depending upon their experience. So as I had said, Caleb had completed that training program through Toledo. Like I said, I'm drawing a blank on Toledo's Community College, Owens.
Owens, sure.
So he had acquired experience for that. The Ohio EPA won't count anything other than actual operating experience for the first 12 months. But after the first 12 months, things like training such as that,
Gotcha.
some of the classroom courses that you can take, well, they've got it broken down. It'll all count for a certain amount of operating experience. So you can progress a little bit quicker through the licenses. Kyle Moyer had a 4-year degree related to, it was an environmental engineering degree, I believe. And so that had counted towards some of his experience. So he had
Gotcha.
earned his class 1 after passing that test and completing his 12 months of operating, and then was able to move on to the class 2. I know they're both interested in going further than that, so.
I love to see
That was my
that.
next question.
It's a Great,
I keep going.
great
I'm
thing.
going to encourage that.
Says a lot about our organization.
Again, congratulations to Mr. Moyer. Continuing with Mr. Urinich, tell us project updates with pictures, accounts, and descriptions of the foregoing.
See if I can. All right, so at the water plants, they're finishing up the new filters. So two of the new filters have had all of the media installed. They're finishing up media installation on the remaining 2 of the new filters. So what they'll do is put each layer, there's a layer of gravel at the bottom, then torpedo sand, and then anthracite. So they use a ductor to basically blow water and the material into the filters. After each layer, it goes through a filter wash to remove any fines or dust or anything, get everything all distributed. Once they complete that, then they'll be disinfecting the filters, and once all the controls are in place, they'll be able to put those in operation. I believe they're looking at the end of the month that we should have those filters in service operating, and adding to the treatment at our plants,
All four of them?
all four of the
Really?
filters. This is one after it's had the anthracite in and been washed. You can just kind of see it's looking dark on top. The anthracite being black does give it that color. Very good. They've also, so this is in the basement of the newer building at the water plant. Not the new chemical feed building, but the main building up front. This is where the aluminum sulfate, the coagulant that we had used in the past, where that used to be housed. A couple of the past meetings, they'd shown pictures of those large alum tanks, the bulk tanks being cut into pieces and removed. This is now being set up for the liquid lime solution that we're going to be using for pH adjustment. In the past, we had used hydrated lime, which was just white powder. Once we exhaust our current supply of hydrated lime, that'll kind of coincide when this equipment will be ready to start feeding the liquid lime. And so that will be the end of September, mid to end of September is when that system is set to be fully operational.
Mr. Ricky.
Yeah, just, do we have to go through any approval from the EPA to make switches? Like,
We do.
you guys have to let them know what you're doing, right?
So yeah, that was all part of the plan approval process
Okay.
when then they lay out, things that they'll need to see. One of the things, because we're making several changes to our treatment chemicals, the whole corrosion control program, we kind of had to go back to the start of the lead and copper testing.
Mhm.
So every 6 months, we'll have to do 60 sites
Oh.
within Avon Lake.
Okay, because
for-
you made a treatment change.
for a year. Then I believe after a year, we can push that back to once a year. After 3 years, then I think it drops to half the number of sites. It used to be then you could get further reduction to every 3 years, but that's something that kind of seems like the EPA has been phasing out. So with the change in from the liquid chlorine gas to sodium hypochlorite, changing from hydrated lime to liquid lime. Those were significant enough changes that they wanted us back to the start.
It's good to know that we're not making changes just haphazardly, that we're doing it in coordination with the EPA
Yeah.
and within accordance to their requirements. So I think that's very important, and people need to know that's how these things happen. They don't happen just because we decide we want to make a change. So very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Ricky. Mr. Rush.
Yes, what's the advantage of the liquid versus, is there an economic advantage, is it a process advantage, what makes this system better?
There's definitely a process advantage. So the hydrated lime it doesn't go through a clarification process. It doesn't remove any of the grit or things that are in the lime before it's delivered to us. So that was something that you would have to physically remove the heavier grit from the equipment, clean the feed lines, and the liquid lime is basically just a premium version of that. It's already had all of the, I guess, other material removed. When we had done, I believe this was in about 2014, we had done a trial where they brought out a kind of a portable trailer with the liquid lime. And as soon as we started using that, we had noticed a drop in turbidity through our filters. And so that was one of the advantages that it felt. It's a much cleaner product to work with. The changes that we made from using the liquid chlorine, which is an acid, to sodium hypochlorite, which is a base, that's going to reduce the amount of pH adjustment that we have to have anyways. So it's kind of more of a net zero as far as it comes to the cost, but it's much better for the overall treatment, and just a much better, easier product to work with.
So you're using less of it, even though we're paying for the delivery of the weight of the water.
Yes, it's slightly more expensive. I mean, as far as their chemicals go, either form of lime is not one of the higher priced chemicals, but we will be using less of it. It is slightly more, but that's going to be offset by using less of it.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
Anyone else? I do have a question about the tank that's in the picture there from the employee-owned tank connection company. Is that some kind of a pressure vessel?
No, it's a glass lined steel tank. That was the most effective, I guess, tank to get in there that was compatible with that. It is, I don't want to say airtight, but it's not heavily mixed because if you started adding oxygen to it, it could actually affect the pH of the lime solution. So yeah, that's just a different type of tank than what was down there originally.
Curious that it's like riveted and bolted from
Yeah.
looks of things, which
It
is
looks like a nuclear reactor.
something they did. Well, I mean, that was a big thing 100 years ago, but
That's,
usually tanks are one piece.
I'm familiar with them. I actually
Yeah.
bought a significantly bigger one in the past and they bolted that together and those are just the caps that cover the bolts.
Oh, so you can come in with like pieces of the tank. I got you. Okay.
And
I
those
thought
are all
of that,
covered
but
caps.
I didn't think we had that much of a problem, but is that how they did it?
Yeah, it was brought in
So
pieces.
that's how the real big tanks, that you see around ports and all are made by curved pieces that they put together on the site. So I was surprised to see bolts. Being an old tank man myself.
Some of the alum tanks, they had actually installed those before they had finished the building just due to their size and being kind of one piece like
Yeah.
that, so.
So that's the only tank we have for the liquid lime. And how much does that hold? Sorry,
Yeah.
I was just
I would have
curious.
to get you an answer for
Okay.
that. I don't have the gallons on that.
Thank goodness for impact wrenches, Mr. Mondell.
So the follow up on that then too. Obviously, this is agitated and obviously over time, there's a wear, I'm assuming from the abrasiveness of the lime with the water. What's the expected life of this tank?
I believe at least 20 years was when they would start, we're gonna have it inspected before then.
Sure.
The way it is, it's not nearly as abrasive as the hydrated lime was. It's already dissolved and there is minimal mixing that takes place, so it should be long-term.
All right, thank you.
All right, I think we got the handle on that one. What do you got next?
This is the feed equipment related to the same liquid lime. On the left is the day tank that will be pumped out of. As we mentioned with the other chemicals, we've been moving to the peristaltic pumps. Rather than the rotodips was one that was traditionally used and really kind of trying to standardize everything. So far, our experience with all the peristaltic pumps has really been much simpler from a maintenance standpoint. You have the hose that will wear out, but those are relatively easy and quick replacements. So those are just set up on individual pumps and have backup as well.
Okay.
This is some equipment for the powdered activated carbon. As we talked before, the way it's currently set up, it's delivered as a dry powder, immediately mixed with water and is kept as a slurry. The two silos that were installed, those are going to hold the dry product, greatly increase the amount of product we can have on hand. As we'd said, it makes ordering chemicals much easier when you can deplete 1 hour, still have a significant reserve, and then order a full truck into the empty tower. But they use air to basically move the dry product into the raw water lines and where it is mixed. These are the compressors related to that. This was just kind of we had received a couple of phone calls. Some residents were concerned on the original administration building at the water plant, the 1926 building. They saw the windows boarded up and so as part of the hazardous material abatement, the windows, there was asbestos containing material around those that had to be removed. We are sourcing replacement windows to get it sealed up again before winter. But it just is, the windows are temporarily boarded up, but all of our plans are just to analyze the existing structure, make sure it's safe for everything around it to be demolished and any precautions we would have to take. But we are sourcing replacement windows and we do intend to fully remediate that building.
Hey, Mr. Rush?
I know it's a former administration building. I was in it once many, many years ago. What's the intended purpose of the building, once everything's done?
So what we were proposing was using it to kind of create a training center. There's a lot of benefit and a need to have, for example, when Jason teaches his classes, his OTCO classes, we had an actual space set up where we could provide the classes. You're still at a working water plant, so you can really get more of the hands-on visual side of that while still keeping it, separate enough for security reasons. But that was kind of what we were looking for, to really kind of rehabilitate the ground floor, create some training space, and use that going into the future.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gurnich.
And related to the demolition of the water plant, they have begun the demolition. They're in the process of taking down the wash water tower. That was installed in the 60s to really help with the filter washes for the original 12 filters. Once we started adding filters in the new part of the plant in 1980, that tower has provided limited benefit. It didn't even really contain enough water to fully do
The wash job.
the washes. We have it set up where we have pumps that will actually just pump water out of the clear wells to be used for the filter washes. And the cost of maintenance did not make it worth keeping around. So that's been completely disconnected from the plant. They've been operating for months without it. So we wanted to ensure that there weren't going to be any surprises if we take that offline. So they're in the process of bringing that down, just cutting it in pieces due to things in proximity. They're not just knocking it down like they did with the one on the old Power Walk Road. So that's in process. And the area behind them where the excavator is, those were the original settling basins from the 1926 plant. And those had also functioned as containment in the event that if we had ever had a chlorine gas leak. All the exhaust fans were routed into there, and that was supposed to contain any release. Brings me to another thing. We've completely removed the chlorine gas from the plant. We were fully on the sodium hypochlorite, and kind of related to the TechWin, we are bringing a tote, 250 gallons of sodium hypochlorite that we have produced with our equipment over to the water plant about once a week to supplement the hypochlorite that we're using there.
And this has all been done in accordance with the EPA's understanding or criteria or requirements, whatever they needed, we've met.
When we earned the NSF certification, the National Sanitation Foundation approval for the product, that meets the Ohio EPA's and US EPA's requirements for any chemical used in the water plant.
Have we had any customer complaints or anything with the switchover? Has anybody noticed that we, like close to the plant, I wonder if they got a chlorine type taste or something? No, we have had no comments from the public, so that's great.
Wouldn't notice if you didn't know.
Then where do we test? Do we test a number of places in the system looking for free chlorine
We test
or total? I don't know what you're measuring for.
at the entry points to the system out of South High Service, the pump station
Right.
across the street, out of the one on the north side. And then we have distribution samples. I believe it's 26 samples a month they get throughout
And they're checking
the
for
distribution system.
free chlorine.
Free chlorine,
Yeah.
their bacteria tests.
Okay.
And then we've got other optimal water quality parameters that we need to meet as far as pH and orthophosphate, the corrosion inhibitor.
Corrosion inhibitor, yeah.
And so we do those samples throughout the system as well.
Okay, so I'm glad that went basically flawless then. Made the transition and didn't have any problems. I thought maybe you'd end up with some little higher chlorine, enough to notice?
So we had kind of made the transition in stages. We feed chlorines at multiple parts in the water plant. So as we were getting the new equipment, we had originally operated it with drinking water in the tanks so that you could monitor how much was being fed and make sure there were no surprises. And then we had switched the intermediate chlorine, the first chlorine feed, to sodium hypochlorite while still feeding the chlorine gas before it gets to the clear wells.
Gotcha.
So we were able to kind of stagger it instead of trying to
Make it all at once.
make it all at once. We had, discussed multiple ways, and that was what we had determined to be the safest and most efficient way of making that change so that we wouldn't see any
But we,
variations.
there's a lot of changes made to the treatment process here. So I'm glad that we're really working close with the EPA, and they're working with us to make those changes and make them in a manner that doesn't affect the operation of the system or the quality of the product we're putting out.
They don't really get too involved as far as what our personal transition process was. I mean, there's the testing requirements related to the lead and copper, but everything else was just kind of done with in-house staff, and that's why we have a good group of people, and
Mr. Rush.
Thank you. We're in the heavy water consumption period of the year. You said you're bringing over a 250 gallon bin about once a week. What is during this heavy use, what are we currently using gallon wise per week?
I believe it's about 500 pounds of chlorine equivalent per day. I'm trying to do the math in my head, and I'm gonna mess that up as far as
Gallon.
The output.
right,
Is it a fourth, a quarter, a sixth?
because it's 12% solution. So for every 8 gallons of hypo, it's 8 pounds of chlorine. So I have to multiply that out. I can get you those actual numbers so I can give you accurate ones, but it's about, in the summertime, I believe if it's operating at max capacity, I believe it's about a fifth of what our daily usage is. It gets closer to being enough, when we get to the lower points of the year. But just with the size of that equipment and the amount of water producing, it's about a fifth.
Okay, and we're also evaluating the cost of what we're making versus what we're purchasing.
We're starting to get some good data with the Techlin, with the hypochlorite over there. I think we've got 3 good months in a row now, May, June, July, that the numbers are starting to look better and better. I think we'd like to get another month or 2 before we are confident that this is really going to be beneficial.
Related, Mr. Urinich, how much throughput are we having on peak days?
We're still, in the upper 20s, low 30 million gallons per day. I
So
mean,
no spiking way up. Right?
we'll hit higher peaks at certain points of the day where we get up closer to the 40 million gallon pumpage. But yeah, at the end of the day, totals are upper 20s, low 30s.
Okay. All right, any other questions on that subject? Now for reinforcing wire.
This is one more close-up picture of the original settling basins. So that's all part of the demolition. That'll used to just be a mound that you would see at the plant, but that's all being removed, and then they'll start working towards the buildings. I'll do this while we've got it up, but the administration building expansion, it turned into a little bit of a grainy picture, unfortunately, when it got uploaded, but they've, completely removed the whole front part of the building. Basically, you would be looking at where we would be sitting if we were having the board meeting at 201 Miller, that entire front portion, the drive-through customer service area. That's all been removed. They're working on getting it graded to where they can pour the foundation for the new building.
Chairman?
Yes, Mr. Ricky.
Yeah, I drove by there the other day, just in prep for this meeting, I hadn't been down Miller Road. I'd have no reason to really go down there. And I was shocked. I did not know we were totally taking out the other building. I did not know that. Maybe everybody else did, but I didn't. I was under the impression we were remodeling that building. I didn't know it was a total replacement, because I think even it says here, the somewhere I read, yeah, that removing existing utilities. Well, like I say, that is not what I thought we were doing. I did not realize we were building a whole new administration building. So I was a little surprised and taken back that I didn't know that, to be perfectly honest with you. But
Yeah,
hence,
no, the rest of it behind this wall is the garages.
yeah, it's just the garage is big back there. So, yeah, so like I say, I was just kind of caught off guard. I did not realize that was the plan, was to totally eliminate it. But at $13 million, I guess you should get a new building. So, all right.
Okay, Mr. Urinich.
And then going back, I don't have any pictures of the water bundle project, but
Just imagine.
they're completing the water main replace, or the service transfer. They completed the new water main installation on Miller. They're transferring the services. They should be finished beginning of next week with that. And then there are just a few smaller areas where they have valve replacements and a couple of valve insertions throughout the community. KMU is down to about 40 of the indoor water meter relocations out of the 423 that they originally had. So that's looking to be finished up relatively quickly. And then the city's portion of the project, they still have the culvert work going on, but all of the main replacements for us have been completed.
Excellent.
Did we do all the engineering on this? Was that all done in-house
I believe
for the
so.
water bundle? That's all handled internally? And are we working on another water bundle project?
We will be.
Okay.
I mean, we are working.
You got ideas of what you'd like to do next?
The outside crew and Mr. Komevsky always have a nice list of what they would like, and then we kind of look at the metrics, breaks per mile, and really track of where.
What do we,
go next.
I've been questioned on Orchard Park because there was big part of the project about the renovation of the grass and stuff, a lot of crabgrass with the weather we've had. Do they keep tabs on that and come back and,
They do go back sometimes.
because it's really not been a great year to grow grass in the middle of summer.
That's why we always offer the credits, the watering credit for anybody that's affected by the restoration. We really try to encourage them to,
Oh, I didn't know you did that.
yeah. So similar to the summer sewage adjustment, it's
It'll be on the September billing. It'll be for the 423, whatever that had their meters replaced.
Oh, they get an extended discount.
No, they get a credit on, I forget how many gallons we came
Yeah, I
up
was
with.
trying to remember.
Oh, just.
But
for,
on
like,
the bill
that
to
comes out.
offset their-
It'll be a credit on their
Is
bill
this
Offset
also,
watering.
to offset
this-
the watering, yeah.
oh, is this also for the people who had their tree lawns torn up?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know we did that.
Yeah.
Okay. They're aware of that?
Yeah.
Really? Okay. It was on the other side of the street. I didn't get a letter because it's across the street from me, but I've been questioned by some of the residents of, is this all we get? And it's all crabgrass right now. So it needs a good shot of fertilizer in the spring, I think, to really get it going again.
For now.
Engineering always goes through and keeps track of any addresses that are affected and provides that to customer
Gotcha.
service. to manage the project.
Okay. I didn't know we did that. That's good.
Okay, anyone else on Mr. Urinich? But you're not done, because you have a CUO report now, Mr. Urinich.
Actually, I do not have a CEO report tonight.
Okay,
Report is, there is no red.
Mhm.
okay, that's a good report. Member reports and miscellaneous. Any members with
The
reports?
only
and
thing I would
updates?
like to say is this water Bible book that was produced by somebody in Kansas City, I believe, I think is very good and usable. And I think we as an organization should purchase a few of these to make sure that all of our future members that come to this board after this board wanders off into the sunset. Yes, the sunset's behind us. has this, because I think it would have been a useful tool 10 years ago when I got on the board, to be perfectly honest with you.
Well, we got it within 2 weeks of my discovering it, so.
Yeah, no, I just think it's a
I
very
never
good
saw
book,
it.
and I think that anybody on city council should probably look at this, because whether it's a water board or a city board, I think it's got some very useful information that needs to be talked about. And as I brought up earlier, I think somewhere down the road, I'd like to see us do a kind of a public service thing on our emergency plans that we have in place, to the extent we're allowed to, without disclosing
Right,
trade secrets and things
Right.
like that. But I think it's not a bad idea to know that we have such plans, that we aren't just sitting on our hands waiting for something to happen, that we have a document that we can go to and handle different types of emergencies. I think it's important for the public to know that. That's all.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Ricky. Any other board members? I can tell you that last week I went along with Mr. Monroe to the county administration building, where at the request of the county, we met with a developer who had some potential conflicts with the ETL, I believe ETL1 lines for his subdivision. And upon viewing his plans, we were able to make suggestions for slight changes that did not affect his profitability, so we think. And we had our engineering department do, in effect, sketches on his plans of what they could do and be satisfactory to us. I think that's an example of our willingness to work with development, but meanwhile maintain our standards. So that's all I have to report. Okay, any public input from the internet?
There's a gentleman who posted 2 comments. I'm not sure he wants to publicly speak input. It's regarding the issue about the insurance and our reimbursing of the 2 people for the tree damage.
Okay, well, let's make sure that we turn that into, the Mr. Monroe's office and let him directly, as long as the
Yeah, we
person gives their contact
We can respond.
information.
We can respond to him.
That's right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Logan. And Mr. Neil Rush, anything you'd like to say at this time? Step right up to the podium.
Neil Rush, Avon Lake. I just wanted to piggyback on what Mr. Ricky was saying about a public service announcement about, it's all over the news about cyber hacking. I know several meetings ago it was talked about getting QS ISO certified in cybersecurity. And if you had any comments about what Avon Lake Regional Water is doing about that, if you wish to comment at this point. That's all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Rush. Board members will know that that's been a topic that we have been particularly keen to pay attention to, and I think that will continue to be the case in the future. Okay, that brings us to the request for executive session. And usually the purview of Mr. Tim Rush to do that motion.
Sure. Prior to making the motion, the CEO does not anticipate formal action by the board upon reconvening the public meeting. I moved to meet in executive session as allowed by Ohio Revised Code Section 121.22 G3 to discuss pending or imminent court action and to include the CEO, the business financial coordinator, and a representative from Manzer Gavin.
Thank you, Mr. Rush. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ricky. We'll have a roll call vote. Mr. Mondello,
Aye, yes.
Mrs. Schnabel,
Yes.
Mr. Ricky,
Yes.
Mr. Rush.
Yes.
Chairman votes yes. We will proceed to executive session when the room is cleared. Thank you, everyone who has been following the meeting, and we will be back in the first Tuesday in September. Thank you, Mr. Neil Rush.
Rush
Aye.
two.